And welcome to Hero Power. I'm your host, Avantes, and as always, I'm joined by my co host, Zeroshio.
What is up, gang? We're recording in the evening. Just to kind of jump into my week, man, I'm tired. I'm wore out.
yeah,
Uh,
you've had a busy week. Work and then some unexpected travel this weekend. So
yeah, we had, my in-laws, family, my wife's family had a semi-emergency. Her grandmother was in the hospital, but she's stable. She's doing good. Um, she should be going home probably Tuesday. Um, but she's 90, so health issues at that age are not
mhm.
uncommon. So hopefully we can come out on the other side better for it, and no, we didn't have to cancel the episode or anything like that this week, which was something I was definitely worried might happen, but fortunately that didn't have to
Yeah,
happen.
we
But
just we just pushed our record time back. As of right now, it is currently almost Zeroshio's bedtime, and we are
it
just getting
is.
started. So
It is. It is. It's creeping up on 8 o'clock, and usually I try to wind down about 9 and be in bed by 10 at the latest. But yeah, we're just fortunately tomorrow's President's Day, and the download that's today. If you're listening, so my
yeah,
wife doesn't have to work, so I get like an extra 45 minutes in the bed,
there you go.
so I don't have to get up and take her to work or anything. So I'll be able to sleep in a little bit. On the Hearthstone side, I'm just kind of, to be honest, I've been putting a lot of effort into another game, Marvel Strike Force,
Hmm.
because they've got a lot of new content and stuff coming out. And I have been playing Hearthstone every day, but not grinding like I normally do, because we're towards the end of the season, and rotations right around the corner. And so I'm just kind of casually working up to Legend. I think I got up to rank 1 and fell back to rank 2, Diamond 1 and fell back to Diamond 2. So I will get there, maybe even here in the next couple days. Uh, so then I jumped over to I was having trouble spinning my wheels, going 50-50 on about every deck I could play, and then I jumped on. I kind of fell down to the rank 5 floor again, so I jumped on Highlander Hunter, which is what we're gonna play this week, and went like 10-1. I think I ended up finishing out the night like 10-3. I went into a losing streak at the end. I was like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
I was getting tired at that point and had to get up early the next morning and get on the road. So,
Well,
um,
I'll tell you what. I actually pulled a page out of your playbook this week. I've been playing a lot of pure paladin this week,
wow.
especially to knock out my weeklies. I finished
Okay.
all my weeklies before the show this week,
Woo.
which I haven't been able to do the last couple weeks because I've been busy. But I did get those done. I'm going to have to knock out my weeklies early this week, probably today on Monday or Tuesday at the max, because uh, wife and I are going out of town for a 4 day weekend to celebrate our wedding anniversary this week. So I am not going to be available the second half of the week. So
Yeah.
if I don't knock out my weeklies now, I'm probably not going to be able to. Not to mention, I'm going to miss BlizzCon line. So I'll have
Yeah. That
to
was what.
I'll have to catch up on it late Saturday after we get back, or early Sunday before we podcast.
That was going to be my next thing. Is your anniversary is the day before my anniversary.
Correct.
We kind of are hit with the same thing, same time, and which is funny because that's the anniversary for Versika
Versika's
as well. So
anniversary is the same day as mine. So yeah.
yeah, so it's always been funny. We're all kind of scrambling at the same time, but you are opting to go to not go to BlizzCon, but go to your anniversary trip during the BlizzCon line, event,
Yes.
where since me and my wife are both big Blizzard fans, her being World of Warcraft and me being Hearthstone, we're both going to be watching BlizzCon, and we're going to do our anniversary stuff after BlizzCon. So probably towards the end of the week after the actual
but
anniversary
but
stuff.
I have a plan. I'm
You have a
doing
plan.
the irresponsible parent slash responsible gamer option. I'm allowing my 17-year-old to skip school on Friday so he can watch BlizzCon Line and keep me up to date.
That's funny. I will probably be taking off work early so I can catch opening ceremonies. But opening ceremonies are we'll talk about
Yeah,
it. But
yeah,
I
yeah.
think they're
We'll
like
get to
two
that.
two specific. But before we get there, we got us a shout out.
We do, and I tell you, let me preface this. I've really been struggling lately with negativity on social media
Mm.
from just all sides. Whether it's cancel culture or it's people putting other people down for their thoughts. I've just really been down on social media a lot to the point where I actually messaged Matt at Arms and Zeroshio this week and was just like, I'm done. I'm fed up with Twitter. I think I'm going to shut down my Twitter account. And I asked Zeroshio, I said, do you want the Hero Power Twitter account? Because I'm just fed up with it. And I was just, I've thought about shutting off my Facebook multiple times for the same reason. It's just,
You've also left a lot of groups.
I have left every group in Facebook. I am not a member of any online Hearthstone communities except the Knoxville Hearthstone community that I admin. That's it. I have left all groups just because of the worsening negativity online, and I was really down about it. I was, and then I got a private message this week from a great friend of mine that I have talked about multiple times on the show, and Marspad, thank you so much because you don't know how much I needed to hear from you this week. It really lifted my spirits, and I'm super grateful for everything. He just reminded me why we do what we do, and he said, really been enjoying the podcast now more than ever. I love how you guys teased that Hero Power will be one of the first podcasts to drop after BlizzCon Line. And, it was really the pick me up that I needed this week because I was very close to walking away from all social media. And you had something else for Marspad this week.
Yeah, he actually posted yesterday. He just out of nowhere posted a tweet. The communication from all of Team 5 has been outstanding these past few months. Big shout out to Chalky, Ixar, Celestalon, just to name a few. Friggin' love Hearthstone so much. And it was a response to a tweet that Ridiculous Hat sent out about Chalky, which we'll talk about that a little bit later. But Chalky actually responded to some of the changes coming. Yeah. Marspad has always, and if you want to follow him on Twitter, it's at Marspad1562 on Twitter. If you're part of the Hearthstone community and you just want positivity about the community, about the game, he's constantly making tweets to uplift people, listing top 5 content creators, top 5 podcasts to listen to, and then he follows up usually with a list of other honorable mentions just so he doesn't leave anybody out. He's just a beacon of positivity, and he's been following us for a long time. We want to make sure to express our thanks, and there's been some negativity in Hearthstone in the past 5 years I've been in the community, or 6 years really, in the podcasting and content creation community. There's been a lot of negativity, and Marspad's been nothing but positivity, and usually takes a negative situation and puts positive spins on it. And we as a show, and individual community members appreciate that a lot. Thanks, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right. Well, let's. There was just a little bit of news that we need to talk about from this week.
Yeah.
So, let's start with, as we approach the end of this year of the Phoenix. What do you think about Hearthstone? Do you feel like it's in a good place right now?
So if you look at what's happened in Year of the Phoenix, we've had the addition of battlegrounds, we've had duels, we've had a new class in Demon Hunters show up. We've had lots and lots of change, and with that change comes a lot of negativity and a lot of the community not liking some of the change, but also a lot of positivity too on top of that. And the big question is how does that impact our numbers, and are we having more players play? Are we having less players play? And they came out with a great blog post. We're probably not going to go over everything in here, but it's Year of the Phoenix in Review. The show notes are going to have the link in there, so feel free to check out those show notes at heropowerhs.com. And just to kind of run over it, they talk about the Year of the Phoenix in 2020 and how it contained 12 major patches and 13 balance updates, and a total number of players worldwide that are active. And I believe they've described active as has went through the tutorial and logs in usually at least, I think it's like a couple times a month minimum. So they're active players. They're actively in. And the number is 23,539,539.
23 and a half million players worldwide.
What do you think of that number?
I think that's amazing.
Me too, because
that's fantastic for a digital online card game.
For a digital online card game that's been out, what, 6 years?
Yeah.
Going on 7 years now? So
yeah.
At one point during Hearthstone's peak, like just after it's released, and it was, I think right around Max had just came out, I think they reported they had 60 million players. Now, they didn't say active players because obviously there wasn't enough time to show activity, but it was 60 million players that worldwide that got past the tutorial. So obviously this is significantly lower than that, but for a game, I mean, we've seen this out of World of Warcraft, for a game that's been out this long, and to have 23.5 billion active players, and that's a positive number. That makes me feel good. Something else was in one of the QAs. I believe it was Ixar was asked about spreading the player pool too thin by putting out more modes like duels and battlegrounds and all these various different game modes and ways to play, and the new format, which we'll talk about here coming up. And he said that we have enough players that that we as a team are not worried about that.
Yeah.
So we're not worried about long queue times and things like that because we have a large enough player base.
Right.
And for him to speak that confidently and showing these numbers, that makes me feel good.
Yeah. Well, let's, you talked about Battlegrounds being dropped this year, or in the Year of the Phoenix. Battlegrounds is by far my favorite method or way to play Hearthstone. And according to this, there were 669 million hours spent in Battlegrounds. Do you know there's only 365 days in a year? That means there's 1.8 million hours of Battlegrounds played every single day.
That's crazy. That's crazy. This is
Yeah,
I mean,
it's by
those are
far
just
like
crazy
I
numbers.
like duels, but battlegrounds is by far my favorite mode in the game. If standard and wild ladder were to go away, it honestly wouldn't affect me in the least because I'd still have duels and battlegrounds, and that's pretty much all I play.
They even mentioned here that they put in 70 new battleground minions and 31 new battlegrounds heroes
Yeah,
during that time. And to think there's such a new mode and they're constantly iterating on it
updating it.
with
Yeah,
new content. I mean, eventually they're gonna have to retire some of these heroes, and obviously they're retiring
right.
some minions.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the longevity for battlegrounds, my only worry about battlegrounds, if you want to call it a worry, is that they're gonna run out of stuff to put in it 4, 5, 6 years from now.
Hmm.
But they've proven with the
But
sets and the
here's
mechanics
the
for
thing.
constructed.
Here's the thing. If you're retiring heroes and minions and they've been out of battlegrounds for 2 or 3 years, 4 or 5 years from now, you rotate them back in. It's going to be like having them back in for
Yeah,
the first time.
and you probably want to make a rework to them just so they
Yeah.
feel a little more fresh. But yeah, I mean, I think I'm not worried that they won't accomplish it. I just That's just a concern I have. Team Five has proven, like I was saying, that in constructed they're constantly coming up with new mechanics and new types of minions, not necessarily minion types, but new types of minions that interact with the constructed in a way that we hadn't thought of 5, 6
Mm-hmm.
years ago. Uh, and it's neat to see the evolution in constructed, and now we get to see that evolution in battlegrounds, and they're not cutting corners, because 70 new battlegrounds minions and 31 new battlegrounds heroes in a year,
Yeah,
the year after it came out, it's nuts.
absolutely. So, all right. Well, like I said, if you, or like Zerosha said, if you want to see the rest of this, be sure to check out our show notes, heropowerhs.com. Click on this episode 256, and you'll find the link to this post. So, all right, that brings us to our next small announcement by a small indie company. They are introducing a new core set and
Yes.
classic format.
So, can I say called it? Because I did
Yeah,
say,
I think you can.
I was a little off, and I'll explain here later. But I said I believe they were going to come out with a third format. I suspected it would be a 1.5, somewhere like a curated format between wild and standard. And they're doing something totally different. And I know the core set's the big news here, but I'd like to jump and just talk about the classic format real quick.
Yeah, yeah.
So the classic format is going to be a new format, just like wild and standard, except you are only going to play basic and classic cards that were in their current form in June of 2014.
That's right. They're throwing it back all the way to patch 1.0.0.5832.
So we have Starving Buzzard at 2 mana.
Mm-hmm.
We have 2/1 Leper Gnomes. We have 3/2 Knife Jugglers. We have Leroy at 4 mana. And yes, friends, we have Force of Nature Savage Roar. It's back. So I'm really excited about this.
Sorry,
there's been a lot of
I was
tweets.
having PTSD from Force of Nature Savage Roar.
So there was a lot of tweets out about, and they tagged me in the tweet saying, does this mean you have to get Legend 3 times? And the answer to that is yes, at least once. I will push, probably not the first month. I'll probably, dabble my toes in it, but I will have a month where I will try to get standard, wild, and classic format Legend all at the same time. And I am excited for this mainly because I was playing Hearthstone in beta, and
Mm-hmm.
I was playing in closed beta. So I was actually around when those changes happened to all those cards I mentioned and more. And I loved Hearthstone then. We used to have fireside gatherings down at the co-op down in Knoxville, where I would get this nasty bad guy reputation for playing Force Nature Savage Roar, and everybody hated me down there, and it brings back fond memories.
Still do.
Also, true. Also, this there are players that came in at Nax and Ngoro that never got to play Hearthstone at this time,
Yeah.
and they're going to be able to experience, what us, dare I say, vanilla players
I prefer
got
old
to play.
timers.
Well, here's the thing: I love the fact that World of Warcraft had a vanilla Warcraft, and they had all those players that dedicated themselves to vanilla, and they say, hey, I started in vanilla, I'm a diehard vanilla player. And now we have that in Hearthstone.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes me feel nostalgic. Now, a lot of people are already saying this isn't going to be a fun format because it's not, it's already been solved. People already know how to play those decks and beat those decks. But when we were playing, we didn't have HS replay during those times.
That's true.
We didn't have deck codes. We had to watch a streamer and memorize all the cards they had. They didn't have the trackers.
This is where Versika would chime in, because I have seen them. Versika has notebooks. He
Pages.
would hand write. We would watch the tournaments together at his house or my house, and he would hand write every single card in the deck, just so he could go back and remake the decks and test them and try them. I mean, he probably still has those notebooks to this day.
Yeah, so I'm excited to know how this format is going to be when you have those tools and you have a deck tracker where you can see, how many cards you have in your deck and what's the odds of drawing Leroy Jenkins, what's the odds of drawing your Force of Nature Savage Roar combo, and so
for that, if you're playing me, the odds of drawing Force of Nature Savage Roar are like 98%. I'm just saying.
By turn 6, yeah.
By turn 6, yeah, absolutely.
So I'm excited. I don't think this is going to be a long-lived format, and I do think they may eventually turn this into a curated. Maybe they slowly start rolling out the new sets that came out, and maybe they don't nerf the cards. Maybe they leave them as they were to see what would have happened in Nax and Blackrock Mountain and Goblins versus Gnomes if you didn't nerf Leroy Jenkins and Knife Juggler and these type of things and just kind of let it do its thing. Yeah. That would be really neat for them to do. I know with the vanilla classic World of Warcraft servers, they're talking about rolling out a Burning Crusade. Mm-hmm. So maybe that's something we see in a year or two. I don't know. I'm just really excited for that. But on top of that, we're getting what they are calling the core set.
Yes. The new core set is basically, the best way to describe this as 88 cards are coming back from Classic. There'll be 54 basic cards coming back, as well as 55 cards returning from Wild. So it's a new 235 card set that is going to include a combination of things from the past.
So combination of things from the past and the future. So on top of the breakdown of the 88 Classic, 54 Basic, and 55 Wild, there's also 4 cards coming from Ashes of Outlands, which are all going to be Demon Hunter. Mm-hmm. And remember, I've heard people doing the math saying that the cards from the Basic and Classic don't match up evenly because there's 10 classes. Don't forget, Demon Hunter is not in Basic, Classic, or wild. So you don't need to count those. So 4 from Ashes Outlands that are Demon Hunter cards, 4 cards returning from the Demon Hunter Initiate set. There's 1 Hall of Fame card, which we'll talk about it. Hall of Fame is going away.
Yes.
And that's going to be Shadow Form, which is very interesting. And then 29 new cards, 20 class cards, and 4 neutral cards.
9 neutral cards.
I'm sorry, yeah, 9 neutral cards are coming into
this new core set.
This core set. Now, what does that mean for Basic and Classic that's leaving? Basic and Classic sets are going to go into what they call the Legacy format, along with Hall of Fame cards that came out of Legacy.
Let's call it the Legacy set, not
the set.
format.
I'm sorry, yeah. The Legacy set. So that's going to be the Legacy set. Now, the question is, these core set cards, how do you get them? Well, they are free.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to spend any money. You don't have to open any packs. All class cards will be locked behind leveling your class for that given class. So all the priest cards in the core set and in the core set, which is the 235 cards, you'll get them all if you get priest up to level 10.
Right.
And then all the neutral cards, you will get all of them as you level up your combination of all your classes up to a total of 60.
Mm-hmm.
So there's 10 classes. So to get all the neutral cards, you just need every class to level 6. That's not very hard to do.
Not hard to do at all.
And if you're a regular player like us and have played for a little while, even just a couple of years, you likely have already gotten all classes to level 10 to unlock the basic set.
Yeah.
So if you've unlocked the basic set, you should have all the cards from the core set.
Correct.
Which, that's great.
Now, for the last 2 months, we've kind of talked about holding your classic packs to open if there was a change. That's not necessary. You can save those packs and open them for dust, or you can open them now for dust. You're not going to have to pull anything out of those packs because you're going to be given all these new cards.
Once this change happens around set rotation, and I say around because I think it's actually going to happen just before, in the patch before the set rotation goes official, those classic packs will open from the legacy set. So obviously you don't really need to worry about that. I went ahead and opened all my classic packs. I've saved all my class packs and all my set packs, but my classic packs I went ahead and opened all of them.
Now, I do want to talk about, there were a couple really important frequently asked questions that I thought we needed to touch on, and one of the most important was, what happens to Whizbang?
Yes.
So Whizbang will remain in Wild as part of the Boomsday set and will be updated for every major release moving forward. So if you enjoy playing the Whizbang recipe decks and not knowing what you're going to get, you can still do that in Wild. Unfortunately, a lot of us, I know me included, was hoping Whizbang would be included in this new core set as one of the 55 wild cards.
I really was, and to me, this is a miss. Now, is it a miss enough for me to give it negative marks? No, because overall these changes are very, very positive, and they're future-proofing it because they've already told us that they're going to be making this change to core set. The core set is going to change every year at rotation.
Yes.
So we used to have what we called an evergreen set, which was the basic and classic. And it was pretty much decided it was going to be part of standard forever. And there's lots of cards that don't synergize well with the basic and classic set. And the cards they do synergize with rotated to wild. I'm looking at you, Holy Wrath. I personally hope Holy Wrath stays in the core set, but I want them to put Shirvala
Mm.
into the core set as well.
Just because you want to be the guy that's constantly
I
Holy
don't think
Wrath Shravaling
well,
people.
I don't think the entire combo of shuffling Shirvala and putting them on top of your decks and things like that needs to be in the core set, but just those two cards together,
Mm-hmm.
and you could possibly even bring a Molten Giant back into the core set as a neutral card, and that allows those combo Holy Wrath players to still have that capability in standard, which
Mm-hmm.
that was by far one of my favorite decks. It's only second to the Uther OTK, and I really don't expect hero cards to become core. And I'm not asking for that because I think that's that's a bit of a stretch.
Yeah.
But if I'm not going to get Uther of the Evan Hand, I would at least want to get Holy Wrath and Shirvala together. But if they don't bring Shirvala in, even if they bring Molten Giant, if they don't bring Shirvala in, I think Holy Wrath needs to be sent to the Legacy.
Yeah. Okay, the next frequently asked question I want to touch on is will there be any dust refunds associated with Basic and Classic rotating to Wild? And the answer is no. So, basically, in the past, when they have moved cards out for Hall of Fame, you got dust refunds for those. They're not doing Hall of Fame anymore, so there won't be any of those automatic dust refunds. But anytime they nerf a card, you have a time period to dust it to get full refund. This is not a nerf. This is moving to another format, and those cards will not be eligible for dust refunds.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people are passionate and upset that they're not getting some form of dust refund, but you have to remember, you're literally getting cards to replace the cards that are going out. And you're not going to have to craft them. You're not going to have to do anything like that and to purchase them in packs or anything like that. You just get them.
Yeah.
So I'm fine with this. Now, the one question I've also heard is golden versions. They've said they're going to create some achievements, which is great that we have the achievement system in now, that's going to involve playing those cards that will unlock the goldens. And I suspect they'll be pretty quick and easy to get because the goldens of the basic cards were just about given to you. So I'm excited for that.
Okay, and then you kind of hinted at it a minute ago. What's the deal with Shadow Forms, Zerosio?
So Shadow Form, they've said that Shadow Form is going to be the only Hall of Fame card that is going to come back to core set. All the rest of the Hall of Fame cards, including Sylvanas, Ragnaros, are going to go to the Legacy set. So Shadow Form coming to core set tells me that they are deciding to play with that Shadow Form damage-based priest, which they've talked about before. They wanted Shadow Priest to be a thing you could do, but they've never really given it a lot of tools where you have a damage-based priest, where with Shadow Form, it sacrifices your healing hero power for a damage-based hero power. And I hope they not only bring a couple damage-based tools for priests so they can have a Shadow Priest type of archetype deck, whatever you want to call it, but the 29 new cards, I hope the priest cards are literally all dedicated towards Shadow Priest, because based on this math, there's 20 class cards and we have 10 classes, so that's 2 per class.
Right.
So if those 2 cards don't synergize and complement Shadow Form, I don't see that being a deck unless they plan to fill, because they said that the core set's going to change every year. Maybe the Shadow Form, Shadow Priest cards will be in the set that is coming out, right when this change happens at rotation. Yeah. So I really hope they give something with Shadow Form and it doesn't fall flat.
So the last thing I want to talk about before we move on here with this announcement is when they first introduced Wild, and or I guess when they first introduced standard, because it's really always been wild, and then they introduced standard. They gave us 9 additional deck slots to go from 9 slots to 18 slots. Now we're adding a whole third format in this classic format that can only be used with certain decks. How am I going to have enough spots for all of my decks I want to build?
Glad you said that, because they did announce that they are going, with this patch, they're going to expand the deck slots to 27.
Wow.
If
That
you're
is
a math
awesome.
major, you realize they're just adding a page. But what this does is, obviously, if you're dedicated to one format, you can have lots of options for decks. If you're ridiculous hats, you'll have a few more options, because he usually could fill up 10 pages of decks. But when you're not ridiculous hat, this is probably going to be enough slots. If you play all 3 formats, that's 9 decks per format. You could have a format per page.
Yeah.
And now the only problem I had with this, and I would have with this if they didn't already make this change, is I hate just constantly thumbing through my decks to try to find what I want to play. And in a recent patch, they made it so we can drag our decks and order them. Mm-hmm. So I don't think this 27 decks would work if I couldn't rearrange my decks. So that when I sit down and go, hey, I'm going to play Wild today, let me move all my Wild decks to the top 9 decks so they're on the first page. And I don't have to lose my other decks.
Yeah.
This is positive for me.
Yeah.
I like it.
I'm excited for this.
They did say that with the Legacy set, a lot of cards, and they teased this before with the Edwin Van Cleef nerf, they're going to be reverted back to what they were before the nerf. So Alec Dawson said, had a great meeting, this is on his Twitter, had a great meeting this week where we reverted or partially reverted some nerfs for rotation. It'll be more aggressive than years past with a lot of cards rotating, so expect a high number of changes. 30 should be fun. Wow. So it looks like 30 cards are being reverted. If you think about it, there's a lot of cards that got nerfed. Sylvanas' mana was increased. Mm-hmm. You had Edwin Van Cleef that was recently changed with his mana. Lots of, I could, list goes on and on. This is really going to shake up Wild a lot.
Yeah. One of my favorite cards that got nerfed that I'm hoping to see make a comeback is good old Chain Gang.
So, great segue. There was a Reddit poster posted by Agria69 that says, reminder that Serenite Chain Gang still needs to be unnerfed. #Unchain the gang. And showing where Chain Gang used to make a copy of itself. Now it makes another Serenite Chain Gang. So it's just a 2/3 with taunt. Mm-hmm. And Chalky, who's one of the associate designers on Team 5, responded with K.
Not even okay, just the letter K. That is total Chalky.
Which means a lot of people were like, now this is the kind of dev communication I'm talking about. So we don't know if this is confirmation or if it's just acknowledgement or what. Or if maybe Chalky's going, okay, thanks for the reminder, and he's going to bring it up at the next meeting. We don't know.
Yeah.
But it's really, leave it to Chalky. Just one letter and just shake up the entire Hearthstone Reddit.
Yeah.
But we don't know if Chain Gang's going to be on the list. I'd like to think that's confirmation, but it's not.
No, not in any way, shape, or form.
But then again, it could be that at least we know that it's on their list.
Yeah.
Of cards to look at unnerfing, because Chalky acknowledged Okay. So he at least knows about it. Whether it gets changed or changed, but
So
I
how soon do you think we could hear what some of these changes are and when they could be happening?
um well, I mean, BlizzCon. We
Oh,
have BlizzCon
when
Live.
is that, Zerotio?
BlizzCon Live is February 19th through the 21st. Now, if you want to know exactly what's happening at BlizzCon right at the gate, BlizzCon, if you go to blizzcon.com, they're going to be televising on the website for free all of BlizzCon. And the opening ceremony starts at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Friday the 19th. Now, that's 5 p.m. Eastern Time. So really, he doesn't have to take off of school, but, you know, he needs that build-up time. He needs to get his snacks ready. So I'm cool with it. I'm probably going to take a half day. They're going to be announcing all of the beginning stuff right at BlizzCon and announcing all of the tease stuff, you know, new expansion, things like that for Hearthstone. Now, Hearthstone's schedule is is pretty. Opening ceremonies at 5 p.m. and then the deep dive is right after that
At 6. Yeah.
at 6:10 p.m., which is 3:10 p.m. Pacific time.
Uh-huh.
And then from there, there's a battlegrounds expedition and so forth and so on.
Exhibition.
Obviously, we know the opening ceremony is going to tell us what the new set is, and the deep dive is probably going to go into. Well, I'm looking at this. It's 45 minutes for the deep dive, and that's longer than normal.
Are they usually only 30 minutes?
They're only 30 minutes, and if you look at World of Warcraft, what's next?
Yeah.
And you know, it's only 30 minutes. Diablo's what's next, which we know is going to talk about Diablo Immortals because it's supposed to be going live soon, and Diablo 4 BTs. It's 40 minutes, so it's got more time, but not as much as Hearthstone. Now, obviously, we know they're going to go into the cards that are coming to the core set and go into more details about classic format. And they did acknowledge on Twitter, I forget which dev it was, that this new format, classic format, is not the new game mode.
That is correct.
And we were promised
there is still a
mode.
new game mode coming.
So the deep dive is going to have that, and then obviously it's going to have the new set. Now, if you go to BlizzCon.com, it has a little, you know, a thank you saying, you know, we're doing BlizzCon Online, breaking down how BlizzCon is going to happen, and it shows some recordings of some of the various games, including Hearthstone. And one of the still shots I got was of Kibler, you know, obviously sitting at a table, most likely, presumably talking about Hearthstone. And there was this weird banner I couldn't quite make up in the corner. But other than that, there wasn't much there. And then they showed another one with Liv Breeden, and she's standing, you know, on a bridge with these tusks on it, and they have like an explorer's hat on it, and there's not enough description for me to guess what the next set's going to be.
So it's important to note that a lot of these panels and things are probably already pre-recorded.
Yes.
And the Hearthstone deep dive that starts at 6:10 p.m. on Friday is hosted by Brian Kibler.
Mm-hmm.
So what that screenshot you probably saw was from the deep dive. We'll know more come Friday. But yeah, we're just, if you're listening to this on the download, we're only 4 days away at this point, and it'll be here before you blink twice.
So I talked to my World of Warcraft expert, which happens to be my lovely wife, and she looked at these images and she couldn't find anything from the banners. The only thing she thought of was maybe something Explorer related or Steam Weedle. Looked something like the gear from Steam Weedle or the saw from Steam Weedle, but not quite. But when I showed her the image of them standing there with the Explorer's hat on and the mountainscape behind them with billowing clouds, she immediately thought of Badlands.
Okay.
Because they have the Explorers League out there that are like a bunch of archaeologists, and they discovered Uldum out there, and obviously that leans towards the Explorers League again.
Yeah, League of Explorers all over again.
Personally don't think they're gonna kick that dead horse anymore. We might see some cameo characters, but I don't think we're gonna have an Explorer themed expansion again, because I mean they did that in the Year of the Dragon, and sure they took a year off for Year of the Phoenix, but why in this next one are we going to have it again? Then I thought of what else is Badlands known for, and if you go, so she actually, while we were talking, went to Badlands in World of Warcraft, and it has this giant fissure down it. Do you know what that giant fissure is from?
Yeah, the Cataclysm when Deathwing destroyed half of Azeroth.
So Deathwing's one of his assault locations, which caused this fissure to form in Badlands, was the Cataclysm. Was part of the Cataclysm. It's one of the attack sites of the Cataclysm involving Deathwing, and there were Explorer Leagues individuals that are there investigating that site and trying to dig up stuff and get knowledge on the Cataclysm. Maybe we finally get a Cataclysm set, and that would make a lot of sense when we're literally destroying standard format and rotating classic and basic off to the nether reaches in wild, and standard as we know it is literally being reshapen.
Yeah. It'll be interesting.
So,
I'm excited. I can't wait.
So my prediction, hot take, Cataclysm, and we get the first set is themed around Deathwing specifically.
Okay. All right. Well, like I said, 4 days. We will find out, hopefully.
Yeah, I'm excited. So, obviously, we're going to be one of the first podcasts after BlizzCon is over. We're going to be recording
the
Sunday.
Day after BlizzCon. Yeah.
So Monday morning, you'll get our download and get our hot takes. I do believe there might be another podcast that is going to record Friday night. But other than that, I think if you want news on, if you want our personal opinions on the news that comes out of BlizzCon, we're going to be one of the first few podcasts that come out with that information, and I'm excited to give it. Obviously, we're going to go down the news and tell you exactly what was told to us, but then we are definitely going to make sure to give our personal opinions on whether we like it, dislike it, you think it's imbalanced. We've never hidden our opinions here. We kind of, or me specifically, I like to give the hot takes and let people know what I think. So if you're interested in that, definitely check our download out on Monday.
Yep. All right. Well, that brings us to our next topic of the week. And that is, we got some more information regarding the 2021 Hearthstone Grandmasters this week.
Yes.
So, we talked about this briefly. Masters Tour Orgrimmar is coming up. Or no, is Masters Tour Ironforge is first, right?
Maybe it is Ironforge. It's either Orgrimmar or Ironforge.
I think it's Ironforge first. I think Orgrimmar is going to be the second Masters Tour of Season 1.
But this is about the Grandmasters.
Oh, that's true. That's true. This is about
So
Grandmaster. So
this is specifically about Grandmasters, which they said they would have more news about Grandmasters coming out. And they basically told us how it's going to break down. So it's going to be a total of 8 weeks. The first 7 weeks is a weekly dual tournament, so 2 different tournaments per region, and they're going to get points based on their placing of those 7 weeks. And then in the 8th week is playoffs. Now the playoffs are going to be decided by points from weeks 1 through 7, and so that'll decide who makes it into the playoffs. Now, champions from each season per region will go to world championships. That's normal. What's not normal is if the season 1 champion gets relegated in season 2, their world champion seat goes to the runner-up for season 1. That's new.
wow.
And that's big.
Yeah,
because
that prevents you having a possible world champion who's not a Grandmaster.
That makes season 2 more important than season 1.
Yeah.
Obviously, you don't want to get relegated season 1, but if you miss out on the championship spot, you're obviously going to have a second chance. But if you get the champion spot from season 1, like was it Bloodyface did?
Mm-hmm.
You can't sit back on your laurels and even worry. You're like, what if I get relegated? Oh, well, I could still be world champion. No, you can't do that. Now, there's a lot of people that don't like this. Bloodyface specifically, she posted on Twitter, and she doesn't like this change. And I totally understand her stance on this, especially as someone who has been in this position where they've had to worry if they get relegated, but also is going to world championships. Now, I am not that against it as a spectator, as a viewer, because I do believe it's silly for someone to possibly get become the world champion and then turn around and get relegated.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
we talked about that a lot.
I like this change for that reason, but I do think that this isn't the best change. I would have rather seen that the season 1 champion can't be relegated. Mm-hmm. That way, if they do get relegated, it just bumps to the next person in the slot. So I think the change is obviously for the better for what I believe should happen, but to me, it's the wrong change. Now, I'm okay with this change because it's a change, because it's something different than what we had, and it keeps that situation of a possible world champion being relegated out of Grandmasters. But at the same time, I would have rather it be that the season 1 champion can't be relegated in season 2. And maybe that's something they'll do in 2022 if this ends up being a problem.
Okay.
What do you think about these changes?
Honestly, we've talked in the past about how Grandmasters gets repetitive and boring as a viewer. I think this really helps keep the viewers involved and week to week, and especially going into season 2 now, if your champion wins season 1 and then they just don't try in season 2, they cannot go to Worlds, and that's big as a viewer. You want to see your champion do well. So now you want to see them do, you want to see them play every match in season 2 to make sure they're going to make it to Worlds.
Also,
as a viewer, I like these changes. As a player, I can see how this adds a lot of stress.
I agree, but I think coupled with the Masters Tour changes, which we talked about last show, is with those changes and the fact that you're going to a point system and there's going to be a more smoother road to Grandmasters, it means relegation opens doors for you, and I like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it also means that these Grandmasters, especially with Masters Tour being online, that get automatic invites to Masters Tours, are going to feel more compelled to compete in the Masters Tour, which means you want to watch Grandmasters compete in the Masters Tour.
Yep.
I want to see Pavels and Tice's and Bloody Faces. I want to see them at those Masters Tours so they can get those points. So if in the case that they get forced into relegation for some reason, because you're playing against the best players in the world, so it can happen. We've seen really good players get relegated. I mean, Hunter Race. So they're going to want to make sure they're banking points. So if they do get relegated, they can get re-promoted.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, as a viewer, all these changes in Master Tours and Grandmasters Tour are positive changes. Now, do I think they're all perfect, and might I have made different decisions on some of them? Sure, but I'd rather them make a change that proves to be the less effective one than not make a change at all.
Yeah.
And just have a stale system that we did not enjoy in 2020.
Yep. Yep. I agree. So, all right. Well, that brings us to this week's Tavern Brawl, which is Lunar Blessings. Celebrate the Lunar New Year. Choose a class. Get a random deck. Choose an animal to receive its blessing and power. Unfortunately, I did not get to do this Tavern Brawl. I got my pack.
You still got it. You still got a little time.
No. I signed in. I chose my class.
Oh,
got into the game, and my opponent immediately conceded, and I got my pack and didn't go back.
yeah. See, I picked I forget which one it was, like what the name was, but any minion that dies becomes a 1/1 hound. Or spawns a 1/1 hound as a death rattle.
Yeah.
My opponent picked that, and I picked that. But I had 1-mana minions to drops on turns 1, 2, and 3, and they did not.
Gotcha.
So on turn 4, when my board was full, he just conceded.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, that brings us to this week's deck of the week, as we talked about at the top of the show. This week we are looking at Highlander Hunter. So those of you who follow us closely will remember we played a version of Highlander Hunter about 9 or 10 weeks ago. Since that time, the meta has changed quite a bit, and this deck list is a little different than the one we played back then. I double checked. I looked at the deck list then, and I looked at the deck list now, and it is a little different. So I'm gonna run down the deck list real quick, and then I'll let Zeroshio kind of take it and talk about what, how this deck is playing. So
definitely run down the deck list, even for our video listeners, because this is a Highlander deck, so it's very small. So if you're expecting to read this, you might not. If you want to know the deck list, if you want to look at it, it will be on the front page at heropowerhs.com.
Yeah, I also include the deck code in our show notes. If you want to just copy it and paste it and see what you're missing, you can do that as well. So the deck list is single copies of everything: Adorable Infestation, Blazing Battle Mage, Demon Companion, Dwarven Sharpshooter, Guardian Og Merchant, Intrepid Initiate, Mystery Winner, Tour Guide, Wolpertinger, Bone Chewer Brawler, Freezing Trap, Imprisoned Felmaw, Open the Cages, Pack Tactics, Phase Stalker, Scavenger's Ingenuity, Snake Trap, Wriggling Horror, Zephyrus the Great, Animal Companion, Eaglehorn Bow, Inconspicuous Rider, Kill Command, Petting Zoo, Unleash the Hounds, Voracious Reader, Dragonbane, Ringling's Rifle, Lorekeeper Polekelt, and Dino Tamer Bran.
So this deck is very similar to the old list, and that has a very aggressive curve. However, the problem with that list is if your opponent was playing a very aggressive deck, they kind of outpaced you because they're throwing lots of minions on the board. This list does not have explosive trap, and in the other list, I at times would sub in explosive trap if I saw a lot of aggressive demon hunters at the time and things like that. And right now we have token druid in the meta, and you'll notice we don't have explosive trap in here.
Mm-hmm.
The main reason is because of two big cards: Mystery Winner, which is a 1-mana 1/1 that discovers a secret, and Ringling's Rifle, which means you can get secrets that you don't normally play in this deck. Now, the reason you don't want to put Explosive Trap just in it is because what if you're not playing something that it's useful in? So at least you can have the chance to find it with Mystery Winner and Ringling's Rifle, which they're discovers, and very often will I find Explosive Trap when I need it. Not every time, but it does happen often enough that it's a good addition in the deck. Other than that, it's a very aggressive curve, topping out at Dino Tamer Brand. Now, Dino Tamer Brand is now 8 mana instead of 7, so you might want to hold off playing your Polkelt until turn 7.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, Polkelt Hero Power is still a good player. Polkelt and Freezing Trap to kind of make sure that they don't burst you out or you know, get their counter lethal on you is a good turn 7 to then follow up with guaranteed draw of Dino Tamer Brand going face.
Yep. And that's the way I played this is, you know, try to go, like you said, there's 26 cards in this deck that are 3 or less. So it's a very aggressive curve. I almost play it like it's, you know, super aggressive. And then if I do get Polkelt and not draw a Dino Tamer Brand, you just turn 7 Polkelt, turn 8 Brand, and the game's usually over at that point. So
my current win rate with this deck is 10-4, and I actually went 10-1, and then I was on a 3-game losing streak, which I want to say we were leaving the next morning, and I had a lot going on trying to get done before we had to pull out to head up to see the in-laws. I was dealing with some fatigue, and that probably kind of factors into the last 3 games. I think a couple of them I could have won, but this is a great win rate right now on the ladder. Whether that holds, we'll have to see, because right now the meta is so shifting because we're at the end of a new set. We have announcements of the new set. We're at the end of an old set. We have the new set announcements within a week. So people are just playing anything they can just to get the last dips of it. And some people aren't even worried about a Legend Climb because, you know, there's not a lot on the line. The meta is, I don't think it's stale, but it's figured out for the most part. Not many new decks are coming out other than the Ramp Paladin. I don't think there's been anything too glaring. So this is a good time to play a nice staple Highlander Hunter variant.
yeah,
I hope personally that they maybe put some Highlander cards in the core set. Maybe we bring back old Reno. Maybe we keep Zephyrus in there. I don't know. Maybe there's room as a neutral package to have 4 or 5 you know, neutral cards that support Highlander. I'd like to see it. I don't know about you. I like the Highlander options because it lowers the consistency of the deck, but gives you more flexibility. So there's a lot of variance because what if you only draw this part of your deck? What if you only draw the other part? There's not a chance to draw. You know, you have 50% chance to draw any card you would normally put in your deck as 2 of. So I, for one, hope Highlander is an option for the next year, 2021, which we still haven't been given an avatar for. So like Phoenix and Dragon, I stand by. I think we're gonna have Year of the Stag, and they make a unicorn looking stag just for Joss over at the Angry Chicken.
there you go. All right. Well, that's going to pretty much do it for us this week. If you are joining us on YouTube, please stay tuned for the live play portion of our show. If you are listening via our audio podcast, we'd like to thank you for joining us. And remember, you can follow us on Twitter at HeroPower_cast. You can find all of our past episodes on YouTube at youtube.com/ECMMOGamers or on our website at HeroPowerHS.com. If you enjoy the show and you'd like to help support and improve it, you can do so by joining our Patreon at patreon.com/HeroPower. And we will see you all again next week.
And don't forget to use your hero power.
All right, sir. So you are going to be driving this week.
And I didn't launch my Hearthstone yet.
Well, that's okay because I'm relaunching mine just to make sure we don't have any of the problems we've had the last couple weeks with spectating.
Yeah, you've been having some trouble with that.
Yeah, the client's been real flaky with me lately. So I think it's because I leave it open during the show because I check it at the beginning of the show.
Oh, gotcha.
And then just leave it open.
Yeah, that whenever you keep your client open for more than 15 minutes without any activity, it does that. Because I do a lot of mobile games on BlueStacks.
Yeah. And
I will often go, oh, what time it is, and do my rotations, which sometimes take me 20, 30 minutes. Then I go back to Hearthstone, and it's like I can't connect to anything. So I have to close Hearthstone and open it back up.
Okay, make sure your spectate is turned on.
Should be, because THL season is done. Oh my goodness. I've got some Hearthstone to play today. I've got 3 quests stacked up. All right. What quests do I have? Oh, I don't want to play Tavern Brawl right now. Let's re-roll that. Ah, cool. All right, so let's get in here on the ladder. Oh, a little sluggish getting in. Yeah, I am currently Diamond 2. Yeah, I peaked into Diamond 1 and then I went on a 3-game losing streak, so I went to bed. And here we go.
Searching for an opponent.
And my spectate is on.
All right.
Grimjow. Ooh. Bleach reference. Love it. Let's see here. So we're playing against a Paladin.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be ramp, though Pure Paladin has gotten back in favor. I don't think we need the Guardian Og Merchant. I would like to turn 1 Mystery Winner into turn 2 Secret.
Yeah.
Into turn 3
Dwarven Sharpshooter.
So I think we throw back the Guardian Merchant because there's not any room to play.
And then turn 4 Ringlings Rifle and just go to town.
Yep.
So
hopefully we can draw into some more early pressure. Maybe Animal Companion, Face Stalker's not bad.
No, that's a turn 4 play.
That might change our turn 3 into coining out.
Okay.
A hero power. So,
ooh. Do we coin Imprison Felmaw?
I think we do. They did nothing on turn 1.
Yeah.
So they don't have.
So doing nothing on 1, does that kind of lean a little more pure?
I think so, or maybe that might lean more towards ramp. But I think we Imprison Felmaw.
Okay.
Because if he plays the red scale, the Felmaw has a chance to kill it, and then he can play the Nosdormu, and then that'll put us on 10 mana.
He's just going to hero power.
He's just going to hero power. I don't think we can just Face Stalker.
Do we just play the Snake Trap and pass then?
We can. My other thought is just throwing out the sharpshooter as a 1/3 body to contest a dude,
Okay.
and the mystery runner alongside it.
Okay. I don't hate that either.
Because if he does trade in, we're gonna have. Let's see here. Freezing Trap's really good if he decides to start putting Librams of Wisdom down.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think we take the Freezing Trap. So if he puts a Wisdom on this, he doesn't have any reductions.
Nope.
So now
full cost wisdom.
Okay, that's really good. We obviously can. Well, it's dead now. So
Yeah.
never mind.
Yeah.
Ooh. I think now we Snake Trap.
Okay. And then swing with the 1/3 face.
Because if he plays the Zealot, he's going to swing into probably the 5/2.
Mm-hmm.
And that means he'll take 5 damage, and then 3 1/1s are going to pop out to contest the 4/2.
Right.
If he he won't kill Dwarven Sharpshooter if he does that. He might kill the Dwarven Sharpshooter, thinking we'll have to trade in with the Felmaw. Yeah, I like the Snake Trap.
Yeah, because even if he does that next turn, we can phase Stalker hero power and...
Yeah. And we still have a few traps in our deck.
There's the Zealot.
There's the Zealot. Now, what does he take out? Interesting.
Perfect.
Because now we can just hero power down the Zealot and then play the Freezing Trap.
Yep. Well, do we do that, or do we face Stalker hero power it and then just go face with the 4?
We can. We're not guaranteed. I guess we don't need the Freezing Trap
because he doesn't have anything that has charge or rush that he's going to send in this turn, right?
I don't hate that. I like that. What trap do we get? We got Freezing Trap.
There you go.
Now, with the Rinling's rifle, one really good secret to get is Pressure Plate.
Yes. So there's...
Because when he plays the Libram of Hope, this is fine. This is great because he's going to attack with that and lose all of the Librams of Wisdom. So we don't want to clear that.
No, we don't.
So I think we equip the rifle and play the Battle Mage and just pass.
Okay.
What do you think of that?
Yeah, I don't hate that.
Then I'm going to give it oops, like I forgot to do any attacks. It's a little bit of mind games. So he plays the Braggart, and then he's going to trade in probably into the Sharpshooter. If he's smart, he doesn't attack at all. Oh yes.
Oh, he's smart. Yeah.
We're smarter. So Zephyrus, we want a silence, right?
Do we? Or do we... Well, yeah, because, I mean, we don't want to kill it.
So what we have to do is we'll play the Ringling Horror.
Okay.
On 2 snakes.
Yeah.
So let's do that. Then we want a hero power. What do we just want to hero power his face?
Would we not want to hero power the 6/8 to start
We do
whittling it down?
We do want to hero power the 6/8, and then we play Zephyrus, and hopefully it will give us 0 cost silence. It does.
Yes.
We silence it, and then we trade into the 6/4, right? Or the 6/6, right?
Into the 6/6, yeah.
So 6/6.
Face.
We swing face, so we can discover a secret. I'm gonna have to do this really quick. Pressure plate.
Yeah,
pressure plate. And then we're done.
Yep.
Now he doesn't have any Librams of Wisdom because he
used
literally played both of them.
Yep.
So he's going to get 2 back from now it's dead. This is so good. It's going right down.
I mean, he is playing right into it.
He is. Pupil, okay. Okay.
So now, do we run the 1/1 into the 4/5 to blow the? Okay, so
yes.
Okay, yeah, you run the 1/1 in, then you play Dragonbane, then you hero power the 4/2.
Yep, and then hope it hits. If not, I mean, we can trade everything into it.
Right.
Not ideal. Boom, it hits.
Yes.
Face, face, face. What secret do we get?
Snipe.
Do we misdirection? The thing with Snipe is, what is it going to kill? He's already played both of his zealots. It might kill a 1/3. It might dock a shield off a devout pupil. I don't think it doesn't do anything to Libram of Hope.
Yeah, misdirection is probably fine, yeah.
Because late game, if he does get the 8/8 with taunt out and he decides to send it to our face, it could hit his own face.
Yeah.
And he's getting really low. I mean, obviously he'll heal up, but
right. He'll play
it negates the healing if that
he'll play Libram of Hope. Forge Crusader, okay.
Really don't want that to get. Well, I guess for freezing, if it gets frozen, he's got hand space issues, especially with first day of school. But it's not going to get frozen this turn. He's not running brooms because this is pure.
So he just played a random secret. Oh, is that lethal?
Is that okay? Let's send Wriggling Horror into face first. See what happens. That's lethal, right?
I think so. I don't think there's anything else.
It's probably Yogg. Repentance is fine. Is Repentance?
Yeah, that's it. Woohoo! Well played.
Now, that matchup is actually tougher than you would think. I'm a very seasoned Paladin player.
Right.
Now, as Paladin, I don't mind seeing Highlander Hunters because with my pure Paladin, I tend to beat them. He made a lot of
we got really lucky to top deck Zephrys.
We got lucky with the Zephrys.
Yeah.
We got lucky with the trap selections.
Yeah.
Which is why Prize Winner and Rendling Rifle is so important in this deck. Because you get to pick the secrets off of it that dictate, what you're playing against.
Right.
And obviously, Freezing Trap was perfect. Now, he played around our Freezing Trap well.
He did.
And the Zephrys just... Now, again... If you had played Zephrys with 2 mana left, it probably would have given you Shadow or Death.
Right, which would have put all those buffs right back into his hand.
Exactly.
All right, we got another one.
Ooh. Oh, yeah, you're seeing a lot of Pure Paladin right now.
Oh, yeah.
I like Pure Paladin. I think we keep the tour guide, throw everything else back, and hope to get the Face Stalker.
I like it.
Because if we get the Face Stalker, we can play Tour Guide on 1 and Face Stalker and 0 mana hero power on turn 2.
Ringlings and Zephrys. Okay.
We got Zephrys.
Well, there's the adorable infestation. Do we just tour guide pass?
Tour Guide pass. I don't want to use the hero power yet.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
We can adorable infestation plus the 1/1 and hero power next turn.
Yeah. So he's playing first day of school to get a turn 1 play. Let's see what he gets.
So I've had sometimes
Shield Bearer. Okay.
2 1-drops and they're just bad. Okay. So I think the same play.
Mm-hmm.
Run this in.
Play the 1/1.
Yeah. And we'll go ahead and use the hero power now.
Okay.
Probably going to Voracious Reader next turn. He's probably going to put Wisdom on this.
Yeah.
Maybe Hand of a Doll. I like Zephyrus in this matchup early game. Like, if you can get it on 5 where he has Libram Wisdom on a 3 or less attack minion, you can Zephyrus for Shadow Madness.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you get to, if they have another minion trade, again, another situation. I don't think we're going to have Zephyrus available.
Coin Prize Plunderer, okay. So,
is the Zephyrus into Earthshock worth it?
To silence McGurgle?
Silence and kill McGurgle.
I don't hate that, actually.
Because then we run the 2/1/1s into 0/2. He'll likely trade the Prize Plunderer into Zephyrus, and then we will have Ringling's Rifle next turn.
Yeah, I like
the
it.
other play is Voracious Reader, and I just think that's a.
I don't like Voracious Reader here.
So this should give us Earthshock.
No.
It did.
What? Well, I mean, we could Hungry Crab it.
We can Hungry Crab it.
It still shuffles Prime in.
Yeah, I mean, but that's still. We're developing a
bigger minion.
3/4 minion.
Yeah.
Which he can't easily trade with the Plunderer unless he has Hand of a Doll.
Right.
Okay, so I can understand why it didn't want to give us Earthshock. There wasn't something threatening enough that needed to be silenced and killed for 1 damage. So I get it. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I get it.
So there's Goody 2 Shields. So I think we run a 1/1 in, Ringling's Rifle, clear with our face.
Yep. Let's see what we get.
Yeah.
Snipe might be good here. So on 4, what does he do? He plays Zealot.
And clears.
And that kills it.
Yeah.
Open the cages. If he plays Zealot, he can kill the 3/4 and open cages won't go off. Misdirection is not good enough right now. I think Snipe's a play.
I agree.
It plays around Zealot.
Yeah.
So he's going to Zealot and run his face into the 3/4. The Zealot's going to die. We're going to have advantage on the board.
Yes.
I mean, the advantage is a 1/1, but it's advantage.
There's the Zealot.
I play too much Paladin. This is how I know this happens. Because this happens to me. And see, now basically he played a Truce Over Champion. That's all he played.
Okay. Do we just Animal Companion Hero Power here?
I think so, because we're setting up for Dragonbane.
Dragon's Bane next turn, yeah.
And I want either Huffer or Misha.
Yep.
Probably Misha, because he's going to take the 4 damage with his face.
Nice.
And swing first to see what secret we get. Probably should have swung first anyways. Ooh, Pack Tactics?
I like Pack Tactics. That makes Misha, that makes a 3/3 Misha, and we still have board tempo.
Yep. And we've got Dino Tamer Brander in hand for 3 turns from now.
Yep.
We have Voracious Reader. I don't know how impactful it'll be. We need to draw on 7. We need to, pretty much anything but Polekill.
Right.
So we'll get draw value out of it. Because we know what we're doing on 6. Oracle.
Pack Tactics goes off.
So far, this is pure, because obviously we saw the Zealot.
Right. So there's
Consecration.
And our Misha lives.
Yep.
Second Pack Tactics. No, I think we
I think we Dragonbane Hero Power, and then let him trade into Misha if he has to.
Yeah.
This might kill the Murloc, which is probably good if it does. But, either way, it's a win-win for us.
Right.
We need to, this next turn, try to sink 3 damage into their face.
Second Consecration into Hero Power?
Does he hero power?
He
Oh
does.
my goodness.
Okay. So, do we just Bone Chewer, Brawler, Pack Tactics, Voracious Reader? No. Let's Pack Tactics,
hero power.
Voracious Reader, Hero Power.
I don't know if we need a voracious reader at all, but we might. Let's swing face.
Okay.
That's not trading the minion. I know we can guarantee 5 damage to face, but it just isn't worth it. So we pack tactics, and then so here's the situation: if he gets the zealot, he can then trade into the 3/3, and it will make another Dragonbane.
Does it matter? Because he's gonna die next turn to the crush.
Let's see. Has he played any? He hasn't played any Libra reduction cards. So you're right. He can't hope next turn.
No.
So yeah, I think we Bone Chewer, Brawler, and Voracious Reader.
We can't.
You're right.
Yeah.
We just Bone Chewer, Brawler.
Yeah.
Because if he does trade into the Bone Chewer, Brawler in any way, we'll get a 3/3 Bone Chewer, Brawler.
Right. There's the other
there's the
Zealot.
Guys, I'm so good at Paladin?
And that's
Gabe.
Yeah.
I mean, we got lethal on board.
He's got 3 mana. What can he do with it? Nothing. That's lethal.
Yep.
All right. 2-0. Just like that, folks.
There you go. Now that game we dominated. There really wasn't.
Yeah. We controlled that game.
He didn't make any glaring mistakes. He drew the way he wanted to draw, which is Zealot. He used getting the Zealot on 4, getting the Zealot again on 7, and he's actually running the Dragon package with Bronze Explorer.
Yeah.
So I'm glad we killed him when we did, because starting next turn, he'd be able to start gaining his health, and that's how you beat Highlander Hunter. Is if you can get to turn 8 and they haven't drawn Brand, and you can start gaining health from Bronze Explorer and other dragons that will heal you and who knows what other life gaining stuff he had in there, then he's in a commanding spot. But fortunately, we did everything we needed to do to win that game.
That's right. Absolutely. So, all right, gang. Next week when we see you, it will be post BlizzCon Line.
Yes.
So make sure you tune in next Monday when episode 257 drops, and we will give you the lowdown on what happens on Friday and Saturday. If you have any questions or comments about the show, please email us at heropowerpodcast@gmail.com. Hit that subscribe button below on YouTube if you haven't done so already, and click that little bell notification so you don't miss any of our videos. For more details about our patron-only Discord, head on over to patreon.com/heropower. Until next week, good gaming.
Bye, guys. And bring back Shutterwalk the core set.